Hello everyone, welcome to Magma India. Today we are going to deploy AMCOP, a project by ONAP network on our VM. So let's proceed. Here is our website of ONAP network. Here we are going to install AMCOP 2.1 version of it. So let's scroll down a bit. So here are the older release of AMCOP 2.0 and 2.1. Let's open both the quick start guide. So first we're going to check the minimum hardware requirements or the VM requirements for this project. So here is the requirement: 16 CPU, 32 GB RAM and 300 GB for boot disk, and total is 500 GB. So what we are going to do is to allocate 20 CPUs and 40 GB RAM to our AMCOP. So here is my Zen orchestrator. I have deployed it locally on a bare metal, and with the help of a Zen orchestrator we are going to create a VM. New VM, pool 3, Ubuntu. So we are going to change the name AMCOP 116. I'm going to give 116 IP to it. CPU max we want 20 because here it is written 16, and RAM we will give 40. Some pre-configuration is also I have done to it. When we are going to SSH this VM, so it will take the Ubuntu as a user, and the password is same too, and then the network also. Here it will automatically allocate the static IP to our VM, so we are going to give him 116. So here untick this option, boot VM after creation. We are not going to boot it. We need to enable some other options. Hard disk we will give 300 to it. Okay, we have our hard disk, we have our CPUs and memory. One thing I have not booted it yet because I need to enable the nested virtualization to it, because in AMCOP a VM is created inside a VM. So let's boot it. Yes, Ubuntu. So here is my VM for AMCOP. So team, let's download the repo, and in this document we will find the link. Here is a link. It is present on the Google Drive, so you can just download it. So the repo is downloaded. Here is a repo, extract it. Let's open it on VS Code. So here is our AMCOP repo. We're going to install the AMCOP using the Ansible method. I'll show you the main file. This is the main file. Okay, so if you want to go for Google Cloud, you will go for this. If you want to go for AWS, you will go for this. If your VM is created on OpenShift, you will go for this. So now I will go for VM main file. Let me show you that file. So here is the VM main file. Everything is here is based on the roles. Like if you want to create a VM, you will run this role. If you want to create a cluster on that VM, you will go for this role. If you want to go for AMCOP deployment, you will go for this. Before running the Ansible script, we want some pre-requirements on that VM. So for the pre-requirements that needs to be done is done by the utility scripts, and here you will see the Ubuntu based bare metal script. If you are using the CentOS, you will go for this script, but I will go for bare metal Ubuntu script. So for this, we first need to copy our script to our VM. So here is a VM, here is my local system. This file I will do the SCP AMCOP install 2.1, and that file needs to be go to the 116 VM. File is copied now. Let's unzip it. Okay, we have to install the software. Unzip. Go to the utility script folder. Now here is my script. You can simply run by this, or you can do one thing is to go by this. So this will run on in the background, and when it gets completed, it will create a file. So now guys, we are done with the bare metal Ubuntu script installation, and here is the output file. So after running this script, just run the nested command to check the virtualization, and yes, it is yes. Okay, just do this step after the installation of after the running this bare metal script. Okay, so now the Ansible part is pending. Okay, and here I have installed the Ansible. So currently for the Ansible, for that script we need Ansible 2.9 version, and like by mistake I have installed Ansible 2.11 version. So what we will do, like we will not uninstall the Ansible 2.11, we will virtually set an environment for 2.9 version. So I have done this pre-steps. Okay, so like pip install virtual environment, virtual wrapper, then the 2.9 version, then Redis also we need it. So after that, like set the 2.9 version and activate the, because I guess the Ansible folder is there, like here it is. So we'll put here. Okay, now it is set. Now okay, we have done this, we do one thing on our 116 VM. We give the sudo rights to our user, Ubuntu user. So Ubuntu all password. Okay, now so I have provided the rights, and do the SSH copy ID to that, so that we will not find any restriction when our Ansible script will run. Yes. we're done with it. Okay, let's take the SSH of text VM 116. Okay, we are in now. Guys, one more thing, like before proceeding for the installation of utility script, just do the SSH keygen. This SSH is important, like when it creates another VM, it will use your this public key, so that when the VM gets created inside that AMCOP VM, so you can able to do the SSH of that VM. Okay, so keygen is important. So now we are done with the SSH part. So now let's run the Ansible playbook. So before running Ansible playbook, we will restrict it. Okay, I'll explain it this command. First command is this main.yaml, which I showed you here. Okay, here is my main.yaml file. Then I am telling this command to use the inventory file, okay, for the host, which I edit here. Okay, this is my file, and here I am telling the VM ID where like it has to do the installation. Okay, 116, that is my this server. And then the command is saying go for on-prem, like I've told you now, this command has everything like on-prem, GKE, then OpenShift, then AKS. So I'm telling it to go for this part, that is VM main YAML file. So like it will go to the VM main file, and I'm telling it to go that my user is Ubuntu. Okay, so like the VM it will create with the user Ubuntu, and then I'm telling it to skip the tags cluster and AMCOP. Skip will only run the VM part. So I copy paste it, paste here, and run it. Okay, like we are good to go now. So now it is creating my VM. So when this role runs, I'll like show you this role, create VM. Okay, we'll go. This is my role, create VM, and here is my main file, and create my VM. So like it will take around like 3 minutes around. So now it is showing an error like logs folder is not there, like does not exist. So let me check it. Okay, here I am, here is the logs, and yes, logs are there, but I guess it is like after the installation it will create a logs. So we don't want that because my VM is created. Okay, I'll show you the VM here. So here is the command. Okay, now our VM is created and it is running. So let's find the IP of this VM. So now we have the IP. Let's do the SSH here. SSH Ubuntu @ Okay, now we are inside the VM. So now what we'll do, we'll create a cluster here. We'll run the next command. So we can like tell this script to skip the VM because VM is created. Now the cluster part, earlier we have like written cluster, okay, to skip the cluster. Now we remove the cluster because we don't want to skip that. So we will run this command. So now Teams script has successfully run. So you can see the logs here, and we will go to the log folder again, and this time cluster logs gets created. So cd AMCOP cd logs. So here is a cluster logs which gets created when the cluster roles runs. So we'll just see it. So here currently I'm not getting any error, so we'll proceed further. So now what we do, like now we'll see the cluster which gets created. Okay, now we'll log in to our VM. Okay, VM is here. We'll see the IP using this command. We have our IP. We'll do the SSH. Okay, now I'm inside the VM. VM inside the VM. So as you can see, when that cluster script runs, it renames to node 1. Okay, and now when I run kubectl get ports -a, it will not run. So what we do, we create a .cube folder. Okay, then we need the configuration file, so we will go to our root folder. So here we can find our cube file. So we'll shift it to our user, Ubuntu user. So we'll go for copy .cube config, and then home Ubuntu .cube. Okay, so exit ls cd.cube. Okay, now we have our config file. Now kubectl get ports -a. Okay, permission error is here, so we'll resolve that also. cd.cube file. Okay, currently permission it has given to root. Ch on Ubuntu config. Okay, we have to sudo. Okay, ch and the group also. So now we have Ubuntu. Now kubectl get ports -a. So now we have our ports. So now another step is, like we have done with the VM, we have done with the cluster part. Now the another part is to install the EMCO. And now I'm telling it to skip the tags VM and cluster, because these steps are completed. VM is done, cluster is done. Now we are pending with AMCOP. So we will run this command. Now this command will take around 10 minutes. Now it is installing AMCOP. Now when the AMCOP gets installed, we will see like more ports over here. So let's wait. So now the script has run successfully. Okay, we will go to our VM. We'll do the kubectl -a. As you can see, ports are creating. So like it will take another like 5 minutes for the completion. So team, the containers are still creating, so we'll do one thing. We'll do the next step. Now we want a port where it is where the services export of the UI. So here's the command, and here we have to see AMCOP, and now it is exposed to 30480. Okay, now we are going to call this and that port. Three zero four eight zero. So now we can see the UI part. Now if we do the same curl to our outer local VM, so as you can see there is no connection that it connects with the VM inside VM. It can ping to our this IP, but it cannot ping the VM IP. Okay, so now we will make a connection. So to make the connection, we'll do the SSH tunnel. So here is the command to create the SSH tunneling. Okay, SSH O check strict. These are the attributes that we needed to make the communication. We are making it at the 5000 port. Now we need to put the IP of our VM, of our AMCOP VM. So we'll do copy and paste. Okay, we'll do one thing. We'll first put the SSH. Put the command again. Tunnel has been created, but it will not proceed with the SSH part. So on the browser also I have to create a sock tunnel manual localhost at 5000 port. So now when I put this URL here, so now my AMCOP is deployed.